Bam! You're tuned in to the BAMBIZTALK podcast, where we explore the thrilling world of entrepreneurship through the eyes of successful business owners themselves. I'm your humbly eccentric host, Angel Garcia, co-founder of the BAM Entrepreneurial Center. Each episode, we delve deep into the unique stories of entrepreneurs who've navigated the ups and downs of the business world to give you the opportunity to learn from both their triumphs as well as their challenges, providing actionable insights to propel your own entrepreneurial journey. So, let's dive in and walk the path of entrepreneurship together. Welcome to the BAMBIZTALK podcast, your beacon for building business success. Bam! Here we are again, and our special guest today is Mr. Howard Craig Marks. How are you doing today, Howard?
Hey, thanks for having me, Angel.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
You hold a extremely important role here in the community that I have a huge respect for it because I'm a bookworm. I'm a consumer of knowledge. So I've spent many days, hours and hours buried in books in various libraries. And I think that the timing is really relevant because of a number of factors. One, everything's going to the digital world. Everything's going to computers.
True.
The world is changing so much. You know what you're doing is you're preserving a part of what our human history is. But what we're going to get into and talk about today is you're also a part of holding that together and moving forward into our future. So that's very exciting.
That's a really good point.
And something I really, really want to dig into you with. So this is going to be an interesting episode, folks. So stay tuned in here. But I want to find out about you. Where do you come from? How'd you get here? And then where are we going?
Yeah. So it's not from around here, but the planet California, Southern California, the suburbs of LA.
Okay.
And so I spent my childhood there and grew up. I came to Texas as soon as possible.
Oh, you were in the early.
But, it was a good time growing up out there back then. I think it's changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Certainly become a lot more crowded in 40 million plus in California.
Wow. Yeah.
And Texas, too. And so, back then, it was a lot more laid back, I think. And even a city like Los Angeles, you could get around a lot easier. And there were, record stores and bookstores. And, of course, you had them here. And,
good old analog.
Yeah.
Real, physical,
Yeah, and they're, and the same things that we have today, like parties and, and we went to the beach, and I'm sure the same things that teenagers would do if they lived there.
For sure.
But then, in college, I went up the coast to San Francisco. That was an interesting experience. It's a little more like the Pacific Northwest. The joke about how back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, the California cars used to have eggs thrown at them from Washington and Oregon, before it became such a melting pot up there. So it was those were fun years. And I got out and got into the advertising business and worked around the country and, spent a few years at home first, saved up some dough and took off around the country.
So was that your degree?
It was broadcast communications and radio, TV,
film.
Radio, TV, film. Thank you.
So that's always had an interest in that.
I did from the time I was probably 9 or 10 years old.
What was that?
I wanted to write screenplays and that whole thing.
Like, what triggered? Did you just watch a movie and you're like, oh, I want to create that? Or?
Yeah, I just had an innate curiosity. I mean, it sort of came out of books. And, I like the movie version often better.
Okay. Because a lot of times it's reversed, but, you have that.
And I don't know if you remember those books. Oddly enough, I remember the one from Jaws. Yeah, they had like the synopsis of the movie, and they had like photos from the movies, and
because they wrote the book after the movie.
Yeah.
Jaws. Okay.
And so, basically growing up on the coast, wanting to be around all of that. But then as I started to take those classes in my undergrad, I started to realize this is not child's play. This is some really serious business. And I gravitated more towards the radio side of things, which we know now is gone more streaming and hasn't fared as well that the broadcast radio.
Yeah, because everybody's carrying it in their pocket now,
and the technology is just changing so much. Who could have seen all of this?
Right.
When I got out, I started to send out resumes the first time, and I ended up in advertising sales. And I remember the first job was $16,000 a year.
How old are you at the time? Like 18, 19?
Oh, this was maybe about 25 years old.
Okay, gotcha.
And
after college. Gotcha.
Yeah. And so, this is like right before becoming a copywriter. And then that took a couple of years. I had to put together a portfolio and take some classes to do that. And that was pretty competitive.
Oh, yeah, I would imagine so. So, like,
it was pretty interesting.
Explain what a copywriter is. Right.
So
because nowadays
you come up, sure. So you come up with slogans, you come up with lines for commercial, for to sell the, to describe a product, to give an intro to. It could be for for a radio spot. It could be for something. For a news bulletin, it could be for a clip-on ad,
magazine,
anything.
Yeah,
headlines, bullet copy, the
big
long
billboards.
copy. Sure.
Yeah,
and you work usually with designers and art directors, typically under the direction of a creative director, and you work in teams. And the teams compete against each other often if you're in a larger setting, like a larger ad agency setting.
Yeah. Like who's the one that's going to get put out?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a pretty fascinating scenario to get into that. I got to work on some cool brands over the years, and I had some sweat equity into it. And really nothing to show after 8 to 10 years, but I got to work on AT&T, and I got to Pfizer, and Hilton hotels, and I could go down the line.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. Got to shoot some hospital commercials, and and went just from New York to St. Louis to Little Rock to Biloxi.
Oh wow!
The stops just kept getting better. To Spokane, Washington, that was the best place to camp out. Very pretty place.
Yeah.
And so I ended up in Dallas, and I said, something told me to stop in Texas, and while the going is good, you're not going to find a better place to settle. Whether you keep going in advertising or not.
Texas was home now.
That's it.
Awesome.
And I was probably mid-30s by then, and something about settling my roots or or senior roots. And
yeah,
there's just something welcoming about Texas that drew you in right away. And,
it's the friendly state.
You know, and maybe it was the food or...
Hey, we have good water too.
Yeah. So, I ended up staying in Dallas for about 7 or 8 years, and
still in advertising, still in marketing.
Yeah, I was transitioning out of it, and so I ended up for your listeners and viewers that think about switching career fields. There are a number of tests that you could take. I took this one at Texas Women's University. You could probably find it online these days. Yeah. It's called the Strong Inventory Test.
Okay.
And I believe, you could probably pay a small fee, $20-$30 or whatever it is. And so it's my top 10 skills.
Okay.
And the top 10 professions to gravitate to, and
based on your personality and your answers to that.
Exactly. And the top 10 ones to stay away from. And I remember the top one was social worker, and number 2 was librarian. And I looked at that, I just staring at that in my studio apartment, and it just hit me right then and there. And also at the time, I was dating somebody, her mom happened to be a branch manager at the Fort Worth Public Library. So I thought, is this serendipity or, well, the force, maybe was leading me towards the promised land one step at a time. So,
right. Yeah. You got to follow it.
Yeah.
So
there it was.
Yeah, there it was, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay. Yeah. Well, and then so I guess that you could pick her brain, ask her questions.
Yes,
right?
Yeah. So that there turned out to be my first mentor.
Yeah.
And somebody, she's now retired in Florida, but she was great, and she basically introduced me to the field. She saw me through library school, made sure that I ended up enrolling, and
yeah. So
it's like very supportive.
Is it like another degree? Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
At that point, I was like, well, could I just get a job in the library and just go from there? No, you need to follow this path and kind of a prescription.
Okay. Yeah, because if you didn't have her there to even tell you that, you would probably just get a job at a library and think, I can work my way up,
Right.
Yeah, but she was like, no, I don't work like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you know, right? Now you're behind the scenes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so how's school when you go to library school?
It's just about 2 years.
Okay.
It goes by pretty quick though.
Yeah.
Because I think the half year, you're interning and you're interacting with grad students, and you're so many different things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are working at the same time. I remember having another job, and so there's a lot of different things going on while you're doing it. So I think it was probably even a year and a half that it was done. You could speed it up.
Okay. Yeah, and then so finished that, and you stayed in Dallas for a while. You got a job.
So I send out the resume, and I said, wherever it lands for a good job, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And at that point, I didn't know, and I was curious, and so lo and behold, I get a call back about I think it may have taken about 6 weeks. This place in Snyder, Texas.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's West Texas.
Yeah. And I had to look it up on the map.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Western Texas College.
Yeah.
And, I remember on the telephone interview, I said, well, something about lakes. I look forward to seeing your lakes. And they said, well, you may not find too many of those out here.
Make sure you come by when it rains. Yeah. West Texas. Yeah, that's the times, right? Like when you sent out your resume, you mean you actually filled it out, put it in an envelope, stamped it, and sent it out.
Oh, well.
How did that work?
Well, it was we were I was on the computer and
Gotcha.
PDF and
okay, so we're in the modern age.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was getting it out there pretty quick.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha. Cool.
It's funny to think back to the old
6 weeks, right? And I was like, wow, okay, they must have just melded off, and but
yeah. Boy, things must have have taken longer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and the expense of sending it, and yeah,
you never know. Yeah.
So there I was for until I hit Odessa a couple of years later.
At UTBB, did he come?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been here for about 10 years now in the Big O.
Right. So directly from Snyder, West Texas College, into UTBB.
That's right.
As the library director.
Yeah. I think it's been my 10-year anniversary this month or last month.
Okay.
It came in 2014, the spring.
So Dr. Watts was still
That's
on
right.
the show.
That's right. He was the one who interviewed. Yeah. I still remember the interview.
How'd that go? Dr. Watts.
I remember him asking a lot of questions.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Dr. Fannin. And
Yeah.
There
you go. The business.
It was a full day.
Oh, at that time, Dr. Fannin was the second in.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
I think that was right before he retired or
became a professor again.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. He actually taught in the School of Business.
That's right.
Yeah, I had him for my capstone class. When I was getting my master's, he was, you have to take that, pretty much your thesis class, at UTBB was your capstone class.
Yeah.
And enjoyed the Dr. Watts. He was an character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Very smart, witted, and when you get to know you, he's digging in.
Oh yeah.
Asking those questions, Yeah.
Very, very smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And many projects that we did when we were on campus that he was a support of the students. That's something I could say hands down that you don't see a lot, especially nowadays, but what was in the best interest of the students. That's how he would make his decision. So he had a long tenure here. I
think about 15 years.
About 15 years,
right?
Yeah. And he grew his directive, and that was his mission. Mission accomplished.
Hey there, bookworms and knowledge seekers. Ever wished you could find everything you need in one place? Look no further than the Ector County Library. We're not just about books, though we've got plenty of those, from the latest page-turners to classic favorites. We're talking free high-speed internet, tech classes to boost your skills, and awesome programs for all ages. Kids can dive into storytime adventures, teens can hang out and study, and adults can join book clubs or learn something new. There's always something exciting happening at the library. So whether you're a student looking for homework help, a job seeker needing resources, or just someone who loves to learn, we've got you covered. Swing by your local Ector County Library and see what we're all about. It's more than just books. It's a whole world of possibilities. Ector County Library. Your adventure starts here.
Yeah, so tell us about your at UTBB. So you're library director at UTBB.
Yeah, so those were exciting years. We got to they had a beautiful archive upstairs, and we got to start putting laptops over in the student center. We had laptop lockers, and there were lots of ice cream parties, and it was just a really unique time.
Good people there.
I mean, stellar faculty.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
First rate.
First rate. Yeah. Many fond memories of people there for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So, what do you?
I mean, and I think the university, I have to say, they could stand to get more credit.
Yeah.
Like outside of the Permian Basin, I think they should get more credit, like around Texas and the Southwest, and in places like California, and because it's having taken some classes there, it was pretty darn difficult.
For sure.
Yeah. They hold things to a very high standard.
For sure. They get a bad rap. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. And they really.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of the UT Texas system.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's not bottom level of the UT.
No.
So they should be regarded right up there with the rest of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's often a misnomer.
It is. And so I can speak from personal experience because I went to a lot of colleges.
Yeah.
In my time. I did.
Yeah. Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I've had like that. Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that would kid for me, to kid me on, oh, you're just going to be a student lifer.
They say the best, 6-7 years of your life.
What's funny is my first major psychology, right? And I was like, because I love psychology, right?
That's an interesting one.
Even before then, I was an avid reader of Jung and Freud and, all these guys, just I was already into it. So I was like, well, what else am I going to do? Psychology, of course, right? I know that. But then after about a year in, I find out that, wait, I'm going to have to be here how many years to get a doctorate before I make some real money?
Yeah, I've heard with psychology, you can't just get out with an undergrad, right?
No.
You've got to go beyond.
Yeah, you have to, or you don't have any job potential there.
Yeah.
You have a 4-year psychology degree? What are you going to do? You're going to hope.
You would think you could with any, legitimate degree, except for maybe underwater basket weaving, they call it.
And it'd still be viable somehow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
as long as you have the degree.
Right. That should count for something. Yeah. Right? It really should.
But, supposedly it's really tough to get a job with certain degrees.
It is. Yeah. So I was like, well, change majors.
Yeah.
Right? That's change major number 1, X, and then go to different schools. And so I've seen a lot of professors and a lot of different colleges. And when I came, I was already older, mature, right? Supposedly, in my mid when I came back to college.
Well, and that's nice. That gives you, I knew a bunch of people like that when I did my grad studies, and that gives you a different perspective.
Yeah, it does.
And it, and you can look around and, sometimes sort of smell the roses and, help your fellow students out, every now and then.
Good point, for sure. Because when I came back to school, the last round, I wasn't there just to pass.
Yeah.
C's get degrees.
Okay.
Which before I was just like, okay, just let me get the piece of paper. Just let me graduate so I go off into the real world, whatever. Although I always worked. But
you really wanted to sink in and absorb as much as you could.
Because I came back for a reason. This time coming back, I came, okay, now I need to do something with this, So I came back and, I would pay attention. I would study. Imagine that, right?
Angel, it's sort of, you get into a flow after a while, and once you get into it, it becomes like a way of thinking, and it becomes part of you.
Right.
And, once you find the passion, not to mean that it's not difficult, but, it's almost like, you get into the routine, you get into it.
Yeah. Right. You immerse yourself.
Even if you carry others with you, the study groups and all that. Sure. And
because it helps you out.
Yeah.
Right. What are they, if you can teach something, you learn it that much more. So yeah. Because you become immersed in
experience.
Yes, it's the experience of it. Because now you're consuming all of it, and not just, oh, it's this thing that I got to get through. You're there, you're present, right? You're there. It's all the difference.
Yeah,
it makes all the difference in the world when you're trying to learn something and you're trying to do something with that.
It seems like I've noticed in the last decade that the faculty are teaching different methods now. They're they're not, like they're doing the experiential style. They're trying different methods
Right.
for the different learning styles, kinesthetic
Right.
and I just wonder, and I sort of joke halfingly, but how are they going to deal with Chat GPT and with their students? And there are so many challenges, and I empathize with the faculty and the administrators, and not just college, but K through 12. And,
Right.
man, they have their hands full these days with
They sure do.
the technology and where it's all up and where it's headed, and and we're right in the middle of it.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's the confusing place to be, because fast forward, however many years, 20, 50, 100 years, you look back, and all they're going to see is there's a before and after, right? There's before AI and after AI.
Yeah.
But they'll never talk about right here in the middle. We're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
We're like, Chat GPT just came out of nowhere. It didn't come out of nowhere, but when it landed, everybody was like, what?
Yeah. It seemed like right after the pandemic, it was front loaded.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Yeah. And teachers, the majority had no idea it was coming, But kids, with kids being online all the time and constantly attached to the phone, well, they're gonna pick up a little bit quicker, and see this and like, wait, I can use this for my homework. So the first adopters, they're gonna, they're ones, getting all the A's real quick without even studying or nothing, right? But I think now it is becoming, it's not going anywhere. It's only going to become embedded in how we operate across the board.
Yeah.
In all fields, in all industries, and everything we do. So education is a huge one, right? Because now,
I keep hearing more and more about business applications the last 6 months.
Yes,
and
it's a
mind blowing.
It is. It's a daily thing. Like we're things,
learning as we're going.
Yes, there are things coming out on a weekly basis that are mind blowing. On a weekly basis that are coming out, you're like, wait, what? Where before, like it's like time is just speeding up, because before things would come out that were innovative every couple of years, first decades.
It does seem like it is quicker.
And now it's
the advancements.
It's just coming one after the other, one on top of the other. There's just all kinds of different things coming out and advancements. And the thing is, it's exponential. We're at that point where that hockey stick is kicking up, where the exponential is starting to stack. So the whole penny. What you want $1 million? A penny to double every day, or you want $1 million? Well, give me the penny that doubles every day, right? Because you stack enough of them, then pretty soon you're multi-millionaire as opposed to a 1 millionaire. Same thing here with AI. It exponentially growing, and it's something that we care for, like look after, manage. Right. So especially when it comes to our young folk, and I know this is a hot topic, but with our kids in the, just starting to learn, how do you implement AI to help them learn, because it's like anything else in life.
A lot of security questions.
Yeah. But, it's when you tell a young person, no, don't do that. Well, what's the first thing they're going to go do? They're going to find a way to go do it, So I think if we embrace it, and say, hey, we know you're going to use it. Let's figure out a way to use it so you can actually gain knowledge from using it. Make yourself better instead of just using it as something that takes you over, right? And now this machine learning is becoming exponentially and humans are becoming dumber. We don't want that to happen.
Yes.
Right? We need the whole to stay at least where we're at, and go up with AI, so our young, and there's potential there for our young folk to be way smarter than we are, just because of the knowledge they're going to have. So it is a how do we so it is a challenge for teachers and school systems, because it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
And we can't. Here's the, I think, where it comes down. We cannot hold on to
there's
the old
no
structures.
roadmap for it, right?
We have to create it.
Yeah.
Right? We're creating that. But
no.
But I think that what we have to embrace is, look, everything that worked before is not going to work now.
Mm-hmm.
We can't keep the same sphere through that square peg. It's not going to fit. So hey, well, let's figure out how it is going to work, and let's build that track, and make AI our advantage, because it is like fire. It's basically Prometheus came and laid fire at our feet, right? With this AI, because hey, it can cook our food. It can help combustible engines. It can help us run our machines. Fire is valuable.
Yeah.
It keeps the wolves away at night.
Yeah.
It's a lifesaver. But it burns, and it can burn the house down. It can do.
Oh, it's just amazing. I was talking to the guy who's working on our Sprinter van wrap, and he was telling this gal and I about he's renting this smart home. He said the homeowner has all these controls that are preset, and the guys used to work for Dell, and he had to figure out how he programmed everything in the home.
Yeah.
So way beyond temperature,
right,
and so he could set the jacuzzi and the pool when he's at the restaurant with his wife, and
yeah,
so on and so forth. And
yeah, it's going to be, it's a world, right?
For sure.
We're stepping into, and everything's going to change. Like I've said this, I've been saying this, like this period, right? It's rough, right? It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be lots of jobs lost. This lot of
concern.
It is.
Where automation
could take over
for the future.
A lot of jobs. Yeah, 100%. And it's going to be.
You hear about fast food workers. You hear about.
Yeah, it's going to be painful.
But how are new jobs going to be created in the future?
Right. Yeah. How
there's high stake questions.
A lot, But I think at the end of it, there's a silver lining. We have to find that silver lining.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of room for creativity too.
There'll be a lot more. What I think, it will take away a lot of the menial, kind of repetitive, job, but it would allow that person to now be more productive on, as a, functioning, use your brain power. How do we be more creative? So
it's basic. It sounds like it's the transition from, if I understand correctly, the industrial culture to the technological culture.
It's getting there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's a huge where, in 500 years, we're gonna be looking back at this time period like we look back at the Enlightenment period, coming out of the Dark Ages.
Yeah.
Coming out of the just suppression and my gosh, I didn't even think about this when I was saying it, but after the burning of the Library of Alexandria, because that pretty much marked the Dark Ages. We lost all of that knowledge, all of the advancements that we had, all the human stacking on top of each other. you know. And by the way, I'm still mad at that. You know, I told you.
Their library was incredible. Supposedly, like the library of all libraries. Like it made the Library of Congress. I'm sure you're familiar with. You know, I don't know what you would compare that to, but this was supposedly the library for all the ages.
For all the ages.
Yeah. Which is how do you imagine that? I mean,
right. It really is unfathomable. Like you can't imagine that.
Yeah.
You know, but after it got burned down several times and finally completely destroyed, that put humanity. You know, think of the that being gone, humanity into the dark ages. You know, where there were only sparks of creativity and development and progress here and there, but as a whole, no, not at all. You know, until the Enlightenment period came along and now humanity's on track again, where knowledge is valuable, you know, and skills and you know, commerce and things that can help the masses grow, right? Instead of just the few kingships, you know, being the commanders of all, you know, kings of all.
You could see it in the art from those periods.
It's the art, yeah.
How you know,
really think that we're stepping into that era again, right? Because history, what do they say? History doesn't.
It's an amazing time.
It is, you know, and I think we're rhyming. You know,
we're fortunate to be here.
Absolutely. You know, serendipity and synchronicity and all of that. You know, we were born at a right time to witness this.
Yeah.
You know, and to see we're seeing the middle of it. You know, now what's the future of that?
You know, I always used to wonder when I was growing up, like, what's the future going to be like? And I know people always used to imagine like a show like the Jetsons or something, you know, like way far out. But look what it'd be, you know, something totally different.
Right.
You know, much more pragmatic and, you know, realistic and.
For sure.
You know,
for sure. I think
within reach and.
It's right there. We can start to see it kind of, right?
For sure.
Like they asked Elon Musk, when are we going to have flying cars? And he was like, never.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. That's why he's boring, you know, underground. It's like, this makes more sense to go underground. Why up? It takes too much energy. Yeah. You can't control that. You know, y'all can't even drive on regular roads. Everybody's gonna fly now.
Yeah, you know, when I've heard him on podcasts, you know, he's reciting actual physics formulas, and I mean, he's actually. I mean, it seems like he's a scientist himself.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. No, he has to be. You know,
what an amazing mind.
Right. And for the time. Yeah, I mean, he's like all those the big wigs from back in industrial who birthed the industrial age. You know, now he's our modern day. You know, you got the group. You know, you got the big guys. You got Bezos and Musk and Altman and, you know, all these guys that are literally shaping our present and our future. You know, it is a great time to be alive in all those aspects. You know, and just so happens that there's also this new technology that's being birthed out of our previous new technology. You know, the internet. You know, digitization, right?
Mm-hmm.
The zeros and ones. You know, that served us well for several decades. You know, the personal computer, you know, all the way from the guy who created the Turing, the Turing test, right? On what is artificial intelligence. You know, back in the 50s when they cracked the Nazi code with this huge machine that's the size of a room.
It's amazing how big, you know, the size.
Yeah.
How
the size of it, what it actually computed.
Yeah.
You know, it's wild, because way more than that in our phones. We have more technology in our phone than what got us to the moon.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, that's wild. That's crazy to me. You know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, where do we go from here? Right. And I think I think that's a segue to talk about the library. Where are you guys at now? What, you're here in Ector County, and I mean this library has quite a rich history. It's been here
it most certainly does.
It's been here. How long has it been here?
86 years.
86 years.
1938.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
But it started right after the Depression. A bunch of citizens fought for it to become established in downtown Odessa.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is so cool. They recognize the need for knowledge.
Yeah.
And just disseminating that knowledge. Yeah, here. 86 years. And now you're here, and you're into its next vision.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we envision a new sometime by, can't say the date, but we have a site selected in downtown Odessa. We're working with an architect, Park Hill and Associates. We have plans drawn up. They've been through Commissioner's Court, approved.
Awesome.
It's very, very exciting. We are waiting to get out more to the public. We're going through the steps to establish a library foundation. The Library Advisory Committee, they cannot be applauded enough. They are working behind the scenes diligently on this. So there's a lot that the public can't see.
For sure.
And, a lot that that doesn't make it move seamlessly and perfectly along.
Yeah.
So here we are.
As with any great project, as with any great undertaking, there's going to be a lot that doesn't go as planned, foreseen. But I think that's part of what creates. It's going to create it being.
Gives it a little mystique.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. But from what I know about this library, it's just not a library, right?
Well, there's it's a technology hub.
Yes.
It's it's much more than a library. Yeah, we have we have events here. We have events for all ages. Mm-hmm. We're open year round. We are for the most part free, and we have educational programming. We have technology and computer equipment for checkout usage.
Yeah.
And, and we have a whole lot planned for the new library that's going to be able to accommodate a whole lot more people. And there's a lot in the.
Absolutely. I'm
it's
excited.
A lot of exciting stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
we are so pumped.
We're going to be able to do what we're doing right here, record this podcast.
Right? That's right. We're going to have a space, which will have a podcasting studio. And so people like you and me will be able to come in and record, and they'll be able to use the space for free.
Wow. That is super cool.
That's something that we'll have.
No.
Yeah. Around here, that people are needing more and more some place to put down a digital recording. It's not something they can do on their own their own or on their own phone or on their own computer. So we want the public we want the community. This is their library.
Entrepreneurs and small business owners, are you searching for ways of taking your business to the next level? BAM is your answer. We specialize in crafting high-performance marketing strategies that put your brand front and center right in the palm of your customers' hands. Not only can we create a premium website full of features that optimize your social media and digital marketing presence, but we ensure that your brand gets multiple views from your target audience and even those visiting your competition. BAM is your go-to solution in the Permian Basin. But we're not just about digital and social media marketing. We're a one-stop shop offering a spectrum of services, including business mentorship, strategic planning, market research, and access to capital. That's right. We can get you funding to expand your business. With BAM, you're not just getting a service, you're gaining a partner committed to your growth for the life of your business. So why wait? Kickstart your journey to success today. Call us to set up a free consultation and discover how BAM can help your business soar above the rest. 432-247-8840. Call today and get your business launched.
Yes.
It's not just your library, it's everyone's library.
Right.
It's all ours together, and we're going to make it a very special place. It already is, but when they see for the new place, it's beyond amazing.
Yeah.
It just took the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
It's got the elements of design, and it has the with elements of Texas thrown into it, and
got to keep the character.
Yeah. And there will be there are a lot that the public will be able to relate to, and there will be a lot more space that will be accessible to the community, not able to take advantage of in our current building because of the open space.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm excited for it.
It's something that's been needed for quite a long time,
for sure. And I think the timing is just for it. Even though, it would have been nice to have 10, 20 years ago, right? But I think if we would have built this 10 or 20 years ago, we wouldn't have the opportunity to utilize the new birthing technology that we were just talking about.
Yeah, I see what you,
the opportunity to implement
absolutely
AI to carry it forward.
Right.
Because if you would have built it 10 years ago and then you get to this point, like, could have done this, or we could have.
I recently got to, when I went down for, my wife and I went down to San Antonio for a library conference, and we got to tour 4 or 5 libraries, and most of them are about 10 to 15 years. They were built around that time period.
Yeah.
Beautiful libraries, but exactly what you're talking about. And, so they don't get to take advantage of the very latest,
right?
And capture.
They're just a updated, modern looking.
It's like having that latest, that latest system or.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. So I need a new laptop, but I'm not buying one yet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting till these AI chips, go through a couple of generations, and then I'm gonna buy a nice AI chipped laptop where it's gonna have it. You don't even have to connect to the internet to have AI. That's wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
you're seeing now with the images and and
and I've been deep diving into AI for a year. Right, since ChatGPT first launched 3.5, I've been in it with the free version. And
I'm about to get a subscription.
Do it.
Yeah, big difference, I'm sure.
It does. Yeah, it does. And now you have the image generation capabilities, and now that they're coming out with new stuff all the time. Here's a good one. Perplexity. I tell everybody this: replace Google anytime you're going to search. I'm going to Google that.
It's called Perplexity.
Perplexity.
Okay.
I can say that.
Okay.
I'll send it to you. So
I've never heard of it.
It is amazing. I use it. I read Google. The only time I use Google now is like Google Maps, right? Like
it's so open source. But that's the first thing we all of us end users think of.
Right.
Because the world.
We're branding, right?
Yeah.
It's a branding thing.
Yeah.
Google is they're the top dogs in that field. They've been developing AI for decades. Well, since they first started, that was their mission. One mission was to catalog all the knowledge of the world.
It's amazing how from all the startups back in 1999, circa, that Google and maybe Yahoo,
Yeah,
rose to the top.
yeah. And Google's just been so brave.
Yeah.
And it is even in our site, right? Because there's been tests, and I can attest to be a victim of this, or a consequence of that. When say you hand out a resume, right, and you say howard@gmail.com. Okay, the resume is looked at with reverence, like okay. But if you were to put howard@yahoo.com, you're more than likely they're going to be like, oh, and you're going to be judged and you're going to be put in the back of the stack. And
No kidding.
Yeah. There's been studies that show that.
No kidding.
Yeah. A Yahoo account, you're looked down at. So it's in our psyche that Google is it. It's kind of the same thing with the iPhone, Apple, right? You get that blue.
I'll
text
stay
message.
with my Samsung, but
It's
branding. I heard something like there's 80 something percent of US users use iPhones, and it's a huge percentage.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. But Google's
It's
been
bigger in the US than it is proportionally around the world.
for sure. Oh yeah. We're the ultimate hams when it comes to getting marketed to, man. We're just like, hey, market. I'll follow you if you market me right.
Yeah,
we do that. But Google's been working on AI. They were the original ones. With DeepMind. It's known as when realized the potential that AI could bring was Move 37.
they have very good products.
Oh, for sure. There's this game when AI first beat a human in a game of Go, I believe it was. Right? So before, humans have been able to beat the machine every time. Right? You get just like a chess player, right? They can beat the machine.
You mean like playing the computer?
Playing the computer.
Okay.
Right. And it was just, the computer could not beat a high-level player, right, for the longest time. Until Move 37. Move 37 was a move on, I believe the name of the game was Go. Well, Move 37 created a move that had never been done before by any human ever been recorded. So this machine showed creativity. And it stayed within the bounds and the rules of the game. It created a completely novel move that no human could see coming.
Well, that's amazing.
So that was DeepMind. DeepMind is a Google project. Now it's converted over now, and now they're releasing the Gemini 1.5, which is pretty amazing. They had some issues, but now you go back and look at it, it's pretty amazing. It's up there rivaling ChatGPT. It's Anthropic's Claude, Elon's Grok. So there's all these different LLMs out there, these large language models that are the motherships of all the AI agents that are creating all the tasks and workflows and things that we use for. But Google they're the ones. They were the originators of what we're seeing today. A lot of props to Google. And so they've changed so much here just this week. How we kept saying things will come out every week. Well, just on Monday, they canceled all of their. Google has regular webinars, right, to teach basics about Google. They call it Webinar Wednesdays, but they canceled.
No kidding.
They canceled it on Monday because they had this big reveal on Monday, and everything's changing. So if you've probably already seen it, right? So in the several last couple months, if you Google something, it would give you a short summary. But now they're going to not just give you a summary; it's going to be a more dynamic summary. But it's also it's going to be like Perplexity. Perplexity's way ahead of the game in regards to this, but they're actually going to give you the sources of where they got the summary from.
Yeah.
They'll cite everything as, like footnotes.
I did see something like that.
Mhm.
They gave like a sample
Yes.
like that.
Uh-huh. That was on
It
Monday.
only appeared like once or twice. I saw that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So they're beta testing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. You might see it once, but you probably won't see it again maybe later on. But yeah, it's random, and they're
Right.
gathering data. That's what they all do. They gather data, right? Like Facebook has Meta, or Facebook has is that the Meta AI?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. I mean, if anybody has data, Facebook's got a lot of data because we give them our data.
Yeah, with all the reactions and
All our thoughts, how we're feeling, like this was years ago. This is, I think, when I heard about 10 years ago. Say you don't have social media,
yeah.
right?
I know people like that.
For sure. But here's a crazy thing.
We all do.
If they have 4 friends that do have social media, predictive analysis can pinpoint you, even though you're not on the
Oh,
grid
no
anyway.
kidding.
Yeah, it'll be an imaginary,
Wow, that's good.
configuration. But what's that old saying?
So intuitive.
Yes, like friends of a friend. Michael always used to say that. But that's what that means, right? It's show me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. Well,
It's just amazing
These
that a computer
algorithms
algorithm
can actually do. This was 10 years ago. Imagine today. Yeah, it's hard to imagine. Like ChatGPT, they're on 4.0 right now, right? Which is vastly superior to 3.5 and it's superior to 4. Well, ChatGPT 5 is supposed to drop here in the next several months.
Okay.
Creator Sam Altman himself is saying that it's mind blowing. Like he was like, I'm not trying to be like the question short. I'm just saying it's going to be smarter, and a lot of people out there are predicting it's going to be at least twice as effective as it is now. And right now, it's already like magic.
Yeah.
Like personally, it's easily cut 10 to 15 hours of my workload out of a week.
Wow.
Off the bat.
I've heard that from another business owner that they use it, to write stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I did it. I plugged in my cover letter versus I was trying a recommendation letter for somebody.
Yeah.
And this thing spit it out in like 30 seconds. I could not believe.
Yeah.
It's
so quick.
Oh man.
My first is I write business plans all the time. Right. And usually, getting information from my customer, one of the things I'll ask for is like, write me a 1-page bio of you. Tell me about yourself. What qualifies you to be operating a business like you're about to get into.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And oh, by the way, I need it in the third person. How often do you think I get it back in the third person? Hardly. I think twice in my 5 years as a consultant, I've gotten it back in the third person. Right. And this is like dozens of business plans, Okay. So I get this and I'm already overwhelmed. I got this website design. I got these other business plans where I got this, and we're on a deadline here, right? And I'm like, and I get it back, and it's in the first person. I'm like, I got so much other stuff to do, right? But I had already been playing with AI. I've already been playing with chat, but nothing big, just being dumb with it, just wasting, just toying around. But this was the first thing that I actually did for work, and I said, you know what? Let me see if chat help me with this. Copy, paste, and I say, rewrite this in third person. Enter. By the time I'm lifting up off of enter, it's already populating.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
right? I only have to personally make a change or two. It's done. So that usually would have taken me several hours, right? Because you have to really structure every sentence in there, but still say what they're trying to say. It's not just going in there and changing, me to ours, you know what I mean, or whatever, me to the company or whatever. It's now having to restructure everything, which usually takes hours, if not a couple of days, when I can find time to do it. But this was instantaneous. I'm like, I started paying the subscription right then and there. I was like, let me get in. And ever since then, I've just
worth its weight in gold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. You know, things have changed so much that it's the timing, it's the synchronicity of it all. Of like, wow, okay, if this was 5 years ago, I would not have survived this moment. You know, it would have been tough, man. You know, sure, we would have tried to find a way, but yeah, no, this was. It was like manna from heaven, you know. It was like, oh, AI, thank you.
Would have given you back like something like that it would have been totally irrelevant 5 years ago, right?
It would not have been able to do that. Like, I mean, just last year, I was, say 2022, I was still having to rewrite. There was nothing that you could ask to rewrite for you.
That's amazing.
That I knew about. I mean, I'm sure in, you know, some research circles, there was already that kind of going on, you know, but it's all testing phase, I'm sure, you know, because all they had at that time was Grammarly, and Grammarly's just going to check if your grammar's correct or not.
Yeah.
And I think they even got to the point where they were starting to make some suggestions on structure, on sentence structure, right? You know, where they tell you, oh, hey, this is inconsistent. Your first person, third person here, you know, you might want to correct that, right? But there's nothing where you can say rewrite the entire thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's right there was wild. And that was a year ago. More than a year ago. That was like, it had been March. And we're sitting here today in May, about to be June of 24. You know, so from then to now, oh, so much has changed. You know, and advanced so much. You know, podcast. So I went to an AI conference in Las Vegas. You know, about 2 months ago now. And I had recorded a podcast and I had uploaded, and then I went to Vegas, right? Well, one of my files that, you know, because I do a separate introduction for each podcast,
Mm-hmm.
you know, well, it wasn't in the file folders where my assistant was going to edit. And she's like, you know, that file's missing, it's not here. And I'm like, what?
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, okay, well, we need, you know, we're on a time crunch because I want to keep the podcast coming on a regular set schedule, right? And keep it consistent. And I didn't want to have to push it another week. So like, how am I doing? So I was like, I got my phone out and I was about to just try and find a quiet place and you know, I'm pretty, you know, I've been around the studio world, you know, for quite a part of my career.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can make this sound good on my phone, but it's still on my phone. You know, it's not going to sound great.
Sure.
You know, and then I'm like, wait, I bet you AI can help me, right? So I start searching AI programs, you know, that can change text to voice, right? And there's one, I think it's called, I know 11 Labs, but I think I ended up using, I forgot, but it's a AI to where I wrote a script of what I wanted to say, I uploaded it, and then I got to choose which voice, what pitch, how fluid it was gonna be. You like you're changing the bass and treble on an equalizer, right? Well, now you're changing how much freedom it's going to take to voice fluctuation. If you're going to have if it's going to be a female voice or male voice, and then playing at that, what kind of voice. So I kept playing with it, put it in, and then sure enough, I sent it to her, and she was like, "Oh, slipped it in, perfect." Podcast was released on time, you know. So I'm like, "Wow, it just
nice.
It saved me." Yeah. So little things like that, you know, like right now, especially when I was student telling you the story, it's like, well, that's amazing, right?
So it's like the technology doesn't stump you. Yeah.
Right.
It's like there's ways to work around the technology.
Yes. It's just not brick circuits that can only do one thing. It's not
fixed.
Right.
You know, it's flexible.
Yes, that's a great point. You can personalize it, right? You know, like, because I get this a lot I guess you could tell I talk AI a lot, right? Because I am planning.
It's fascinating.
It is, you know. But as far as my business, that's what I want to do. I want to implement. I want to be the area's the first and premier AI consultant.
That's awesome.
Right. So I want to help small businesses implement AI across the board.
Yeah.
So I'm putting in my due diligence. I'm putting in my sweat equity right now. I'm basically putting myself through school again. Just through all these different gathering certifications, taking classes, and so I can be on top of the knowledge, on the cutting edge of where it's at. And when I talk about it, people are like, oh, everybody's going to sound the same, and all the blogs are going to be the same, and everybody's social media is going to be the same. I'm like, no, you can personalize the AI. You can feed the AI your personality, basically. That sounds creepy saying that. But all of my writings that I've had in the past, I can dump them in to AI, and AI can analyze. And then if I want them to create something new, AI will create that something new for me in my voice.
I wonder how much, Angel, how the social media you see now.
A lot.
Really?
A lot. Yeah,
are created by AI.
And I can tell, right? Because when I first started using AI, I don't think anybody, not anybody, of course, but the amount of people that were using it 10 times over. I can tell. I can tell not.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because I use it so much. Right?
Yeah.
So when I see somebody else use it, I'm like, AI, you're using AI. And people that I work with, I'm like, hey, I see you're using AI. Let me give you some hints so it doesn't seem like you're using AI. Because you want to use AI, but you don't want it to be obvious you're using AI.
Yeah.
So you do have to, there is that human factor, that human element that you have to inject into it. Because with a marketing background, what connects? People connect. The humanity is what connects people. And if something does sound so robotic, they won't want it. I believe you and I were having a conversation when I was here last week about music. The first AI music that was coming out a couple years ago, it was too perfect. It was too in sync to where to a human listening to that, we're like, what is that?
Yeah, our ear can pick up if it.
Yeah. So we are used to those flaws.
If it's too robotic.
Yes, right. So we're used to there being a margin, right? They call it that margin of error there. We're used to that because nothing's perfect. Nothing is absolutely perfect. The margin itself and the way it operates is the perfectness, right? But to a computer, without fail, it's like to the humans, it doesn't sound right, So now they adjusted AI to have margins of error, so now the music sounds more authentic.
Yeah,
that's wild.
That shows you how it's come.
Yeah, and where's
quite a leap.
Where's it going? That's the wild part. You have these musicians who are, put a stop to AI development, or and then the whole music, the TV actor thing that happened last year sometime. It's basically shut down production.
I keep thinking, are there going to be like virtual reality applications, and are people going to be able to, sort of walk through and feel the AI as they walk through life? And
you've seen the people with the big apple,
right?
Yeah,
the goggles.
Yeah. Again, The Simpsons, right? I think they predicted that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep watching The Simpsons. We can tell the future, right?
That's what they say.
But yeah, no, that is something that is.
They have predicted the future.
They have multiple times. Yeah, I don't know how they do that, but yeah, it's eerily similar. Not just in the concept, but like the actual, what it looks like, the positioning of the camera. I'm like, how did they even get that? There's time trap. They're time travelers, man. I don't know how you would predict that, or how they're up. You can understand the randomness once or twice. Oh wow, okay, well that was
random coincidence.
Almost like
everybody lucks out every now and then.
Yeah, right. Kind of like the Wizard of Oz and Dark Side of the Moon. Have you about that sync?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's really crazy. But Roger Waters did not, and they didn't sit there and say, let's sync up to Wizard of Oz. That they never did that, so there was a completely random synchronicity that happened, right? So you would expect that maybe once or twice, like something like The Simpsons have been on for 20 years or something, 20, I don't know how long they've been on for decades. So you would, okay,
long time.
That might happen.
87, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
It's amazing how they've survived. Yeah,
right.
Through
it is. How are they doing this? How are they predicting time and time again?
Yeah.
It's like now we can count on them.
Isn't it like the longest running sitcom?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, no, you don't have to mess with actors. You don't have to, you know what I mean? Like the weather doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You could just create,
Yeah, they're always doing the same thing.
It's always a sunny day, or unless they want a stormy day, Yeah, Springfield. Yeah.
That's right. Watched it back in the early days.
Yeah. I used to, my college break, I used to study break, right? It was, I think it was Seinfeld and then The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Thursday nights.
Yes, sir.
Must see TV.
So that hour was like religion, man.
Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good old show.
Yeah.
Yeah. That back to back of Simpsons, man, he just can't beat it. Yeah. Well, it's been an interesting conversation. I've had fun. How can our listeners get involved and pay attention and keep up to date of what the developments of the new library coming out, or can they have a say in something or suggestions, or how can they keep tabs with it? Or
yeah, absolutely. We invite the public to come out anytime. They're welcome to drop in, have a conversation, have a cup of coffee. I mean, we never tell them that. Maybe I should put out a message.
Put it out right now.
Yeah. We have friends of the Ector County Public Library. They could, talk to them if they ever want to volunteer with them.
How they get a hold of them?
They are down in our basement. They have one of Odessa's largest used book collections.
Okay.
That people may not know about. They also they're also looking for record albums and CDs, any number of donations.
Okay.
And they sell them back for a large book bag for $5. You could fill it up any day that we're open except for Sundays and holidays. We're open 9 to 7, Monday through Saturday. Practically all of the weeks of 52 of the weeks of the year, except for those holidays, and they could fill it up for $5.
Okay. And so they just come to the library. Can they call or see what they got, or is there social media for it? Or?
Oh yeah. We're on Facebook. We're on X, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok.
Oh wow, what? Libraries on TikTok. Oh, I got to get with the TikTok. I'm not even on TikTok. But you also have some other programs going on at the moment, don't you?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, Angel. We have our summer reading kickoff, which by the time this airs, we'll have already started it. But we have the kickoff May 23rd, and so that's our official busy season. And every day, starting after Memorial Day weekend, in the library, June and July, we have Arlene the park ranger. We have a magician coming.
Wow.
We have Felix the dog. Every day we have something going on at the library, June and July. So if you want to get the kids out, or if you want to, if you and the family want to come down, we got something going on. It's free. It's fun. We invite everyone down. We usually something going on. Either we have story time, 10 a.m., or we have something going on in the afternoons.
Okay. And so it's either 10 a.m. or in the afternoons.
Correct.
Right. Okay. It's not an all day deal. Can they come and just show up?
Sure. They could show up and they could hang out, make a day out of it. bring some lunch and, hang out in the park. We got Southwest genealogy, and we got you could go check out some DVDs in the teen department, and then head upstairs to the children's department. And the theme this year is adventure in the library. So we got a bunch of fun stuff out, like tent, some decorated tents and all sorts of outdoor stuff. And it's real colorful, and the children's staff are real helpful. And it's just real playful.
So it's from the 23rd for how long? All of July, June and July?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. That sounds pretty cool.
Pretty much every day of the week.
Yeah.
There's activities.
And can they go to the website and see a calendar of events?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Glad you asked. There's a calendar of events, and you click on the calendar, and it'll be, you'll see, the back to back to back.
Okay.
And
so you could
just follow. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
You can plan out your own adventure.
Yeah.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
It's like those books where you could turn to a different page, a different story. Yeah,
oh man, those were great.
Cool. Yeah, I love books, man. I love books.
They take you somewhere.
Yes.
Especially you could travel to anywhere in the world, in the galaxy, and you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Within a book.
Yeah.
And the great thing is it's all within your mind.
Right.
It's a special thing.
You can go through experiences with that.
Yeah.
Create empathy.
Absolutely.
You can relate to something outside of yourself.
That's right.
I believe it.
That's an outstanding point.
I think it leads a lot into being,
and we do need more of that.
Absolutely.
In general today.
It's kind of where I was going with that. Yes, sir. 100%. I agree. Because it's a lot of it's taken away with cat videos and a lot of different things.
There's so many distractions.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's still the nuggets of discovery and information and knowledge out there.
Yeah.
And they're still obtainable. And in the library, for the most part, they're free.
Yeah.
And so if people just want to reach out, and, we're here.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're always here for you. That's the neat thing about it, about a public library is there's reference people that are here to help answer questions. And, you have your library card is basically your ticket to the world.
Yeah. I like
that's what they used to tell us when I remember the first public library. Now you got me on the topic. Yeah. It's sort of like a buzz, it's a buzz of knowledge, but I remember the library where I grew up, and, I remember, my dad used to drop me off there on Saturdays. I used to, do my stuff over there, and used to hang out over there, and, growing up. And I remember the librarians would help me out, and you had to go up to the desk back then and ask them questions. And it was old school, but
the filing cabinet with the cards.
That's right. Yeah. The card catalog.
Yeah.
And
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were already well on your way to be a librarian when you were a kid. You know it.
I didn't even know it, but I still remember vividly that. So I hope we're making the same impression in people's minds, and
100%
creating that influence for them. And,
for sure.
And in some cases, we're I know public libraries are a third space, and we're a home away from home for some.
Yeah, for sure.
We do see a lot of the same clientele
Mhm.
come in day after day.
Yeah.
You know, it's like their place.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
You know, and
So that's cool, you know, that they can feel like it's a safe place. And, you know, it's sort of like, it's not a job for them, but it's almost like they're going to a job, even if they're not getting paid. And
right.
they, you know, I see like some of the same guys, you know, they'll take the same desk and same seat.
Mhm. Yeah. That's how I was. You know, when I go study at the library, I look for my place. Oh,
Yeah.
my spot's available. And if somebody's there, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to find somewhere else to go. You know?
That's right.
we take ownership. You know, you take ownership of
Creature of habit.
We are creatures of habit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it is true. Like, library is a safe space.
Yeah.
You know, because people are there to, you know, for a reason, right? Why else would you go to a library? You know, you're there to read or to learn or study or to, you know, it's a bubble of, you always know use your library voice, right? You
Yeah,
know?
that's right. That's right.
So there's the level of respect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, for
And that maybe been, you know, that quiet people have backed off of that a little bit
Mhm.
over the years.
yeah,
That shh.
right.
You don't hear that as much now.
Well, it's
Yeah.
a sign of the times. So.
It sure is. You know, you could bring in a snack and bottle of water, and you couldn't
before. No. Hydration.
It was sacred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. I mean, that's when I grew up. It was like that.
That's
know?
right. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And and you couldn't really talk.
Mm-mm.
You know, I remember there was a payphone outside. You know, to date myself, there was a payphone outside, and
Yeah.
it really was different like that.
Yeah.
And the smell of the books and all that.
Yeah. You got me on that one, man. I'm a book smeller.
Yeah.
I'm a book smeller.
Yeah, me too.
Especially those nice older ones. They've been opened in a while.
See,
Ooh,
that's right down in
awesome.
Southwest genealogy.
That's awesome. Is there anything else that you got about the library you want to bring
Oh,
up?
we just invite everyone to
Awesome.
explore,
Yeah.
connect, and learn.
There you go.
That's ECL for you in a nutshell.
There you go. ECL right now and ECL into the future.
Well said.
Yes, sir. I will thank you so much for your time and
Thank
agreeing
you.
to do this podcast.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure.
For sure. I'm looking forward
enjoyed
to
it.
the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good deal.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
You too.